Good morning, Dr. Butterfield here. I want to share with you a few more books in my series of books for personal development, leadership, success. This one's going to be more focused on money specifically. So there's two books I thought I'd share. And the first one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And something to take away from a lot of these books I'm sharing is they're teaching you to think in a different way. And so I think that both wealthy people and people who aren't wealthy, who aren't rich, I think they both work very hard. Now, I've seen firsthand, my father had a very successful plumbing business, and he worked very hard, okay? And he achieved a higher level of success, I think, than most people. But he put in just really long hours, nights, weekends, and as a business owner, for those of you who aren't business owners, something you have to understand about a business. So I own my own business now as a health clinic. Your brain doesn't turn off. Your brain, you're always thinking about your business, so you never really get off the clock. Anyway. So there's just a different way of thinking that rich, wealthy people have. There's a way that they look at money. There's a way that they look at investing and saving. They just have a different way. I mean, so if you're going to work hard anyway, then you can just change the way you think, and you can work hard and make good money and create a better life for your family. So either way, you're going to put in time, you're going to work hard. So you might as well get some skill sets. You might as well learn how rich people think. And so, this is such a classic book. I think it's, maybe 25 or 30 years old. Robert Kiyosaki is still very active in teaching. He's very passionate about empowering everybody that they can, build wealth and so forth. But his story is that when he was growing up, he was a boy, and he saw that, he wanted to make money as a very young boy, and there were things that he just wanted to experience, and so he wanted to make money. So he started making his own first businesses, and they failed. But his best friend's dad was a very successful entrepreneur in the state of Hawaii. And so he began learning from his best friend's dad, who he terms his rich dad. His father was very well educated. He had a PhD and was involved in education and so forth. So here you have this man who had a very kind of mainstream, get a good education sort of, that was his knowledge bank. That was what he came from. And it didn't work out for him. Now, it's not to say that doesn't work out for anyone, but Robert Kiyosaki does show how not all of your many very successful entrepreneurs didn't go to college, or they didn't get a lot of education. So there's a lot of life lessons and things you can learn that are outside of a college education or a mainstream education. And he doesn't disparage education per se, but there's some things you don't expect just to get a college education to make it be successful. I mean, it's kind of a dime a dozen at this point. There's just millions and millions of people who have a bachelor's degree, and it's not necessarily even going to set you apart anymore. So there's other skill sets that you can get that will make you bring you a lot more success. This was a really fun read. I really enjoyed it. Just great stories, great lessons. And it says what rich people teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class do not. And I think it's just a fantastic book. So he's got a whole series, like I said. And I like this title. I think it really highlights the energy behind all of these books I'm sharing. So a book from my other series from Zig Ziglar, he said, if you want to get what you want, you have to help enough other people get what they want. So just listen to this title, The Business School, for people who like helping people. So a big part of making good money and being successful is helping people. I think everyone helps people. I think, my dad's was a plumber, I mentioned. That's not that glamorous of a profession, but I think he really helped people. He gave people a really valuable service. And I think everybody does that, but if you're getting paid to do something, you're probably offering a good service. You're probably helping people. So it's, how can you help more people? How can you help people in a bigger way? And then you can be compensated for that, which is fair. If you're making a bigger contribution, then you deserve a greater reward. And a lot of these people will turn around. Actually, Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about being charitable. So, he didn't just make money and keep it all for himself. He tithed. He'd give 10% away of all of his income. And he might not even know how he was going to pay his bills. But that was that important to him. He said, God is my business partner, and he has to get paid first. So that was just a beautiful way to phrase that. I read another one of his books. I don't think that phrase was in this book. So he's got a whole series. If you want to get into real estate, he's got one on that. He's got one on investing. I think they're all good. This one, I think, is the best. Richest Man in Babylon. I've only listened to this one on audio. Yeah, there's a really fun audio, and this is, it's a fictional story about the richest man in Babylon, thousands of years ago. But basically, it's what George Clason has done is he's teaching principles in a fun, memorable way from this perspective. So these I think the words artisans or these merchants, they're frustrated because they're poor, and they see it again. They're working hard, but they're not getting ahead. In fact, a lot of them are getting further behind. And so they seek out one of their friends, someone they grew up with, who became the richest man in Babylon. And they humbly ask him, they say, know what? We see that you've done really well, and that you're not really that much different than us. Can you please teach us how you became wealthy? And so this book goes through his wisdom and sharing those principles. So it teaches about saving money, investing. A lot of these simple, they're easy. You don't have to be an accountant to wrap your head around a lot of these things. They're very simple money principles that you can apply in your life. So I think these are both great books. Highly recommend you read them. Thanks for tuning in.